Hello everyone, my name is Marion. In today's video, this is going to be the MRI Registry review questions for MRI screening and safety. I do have one of these for CT as well, so if you want to, you know anyone who is taking the CT registry, feel free to share my videos with them. And this is the content specification for ARRT MRI exam, but you can use this depending on whatever boards you're studying for. I'm sure all the information is still the same. So regardless if it's ARRT or another MRI registry or no matter where you live, I'm sure it's like a general or a big board with a big range of questions. So this can be used to help you prepare for any MRI boards. But today's lesson, we are going to focus on the MRI safety questions, which is 21 questions that can be asked to you on the test. There will be a total of 200 questions, so keep that in mind. But you also have 30 unscored pilot questions at the bottom of this paper saying. So just go back and review all of these topics and content categories. And also, I will make questions for each one of these. So the way I like to ask the questions, this is how I did it for the CT registry. I go over the questions. Sometimes I may read the answer choices or may not. I give you a few moments just to guess the answer and then I'll let you know what the answer is. So for the first question, what does the acronym SAR stands for? So you have specific absorb rate, specific absorption ratio, standard absorb ratio, specific absorption rate. And you can also pause the video. You can go back and rewind it. You can view it as many times as you want to because it doesn't expire. For as long as there is a YouTube account, the video will be on there. So take your time. You can go back and replay it as much as you want to. So the answer is specific absorption rate. And if you don't know, SAR is a measurement of how quickly the body will absorb the RF energy during an MRI scan. Keep in mind that the unit or the measurement of SAR is watts per kilogram. So just make sure you know all of this information. And then you have question number 2. Which unit of measurement is used to measure the specific absorption rate, SAR? You have your Gauss, your watts per kilogram, Tesla, or micro Tesla. So I'll just give you a few moments. Watts per kilogram. SAR is a measurement of how quickly the body will absorb the RF energy during an MRI scan, and it is measured in watts per kilogram. Which MRI zone has the control room for the MRI personnel? Is it zone 2, zone 1, zone 3, or zone 4? The answer is zone 3. So zone 3 is going to be the control room, pretty much where the technologists will work in. You know, you have your computer where we're doing the scans. You have your computer where you're charting on the patient. So only anyone who is an MRI personnel or a patient or a visitor or another staff member that has been fully screened and can go inside this area. You've been screened. You've had everything removed from your pockets. So that's what zone 3 is. Which MRI zone is for the general public, such as the reception and waiting areas, and is freely accessible to visitors and patients? You have your zone 1, zone 4, zone 3, or zone 2. Zone 1. So zone 1 is for anyone. You can just walk freely. You do not have to be screened. You can go to the reception area, the waiting areas, and the MRI scanner is not located in this zone, so that's why you're not being screened. It's just for anyone to just walk up and down freely. Which MRI zone is used to screen patients and is where the MRI technologist and patient completes and goes over the MRI screening form? Zone 4, Zone 1, Zone 3, or Zone 2? Zone 2. So in zone 2, this is wherever the MRI tech will come out, go over the screening form with the patient. Make sure that you go back over the screening form with the patient because sometimes a patient may not be able to understand the questions fully. They may have questions. They may have forgotten to list an implant. I have all the time where patients do not list their full surgeries. They only list surgeries pertaining to whatever body part that is being scanned. So have them list every surgery that they've had, even if they've had back surgery. Ask them if a stimulator was placed, if they've had a stimulator taken out. Ask them if they still have the leads in there because the leads may not be safe anymore or may not be MRI conditional. So you have to go back over the screening form, especially if a patient is a diabetic. Sometimes they forget to remove the diabetic glucose monitor from their arm or their stomach. They may have a medication patch on that is not safe to go inside. They may even have hearing aids. So always just get them to go back over the form with them and also get them to change in a hospital gown or hospital scrubs, a clinic gown, clinic scrubs. I always have patients change because they may forget something in their pocket. They may put something back in their pocket. They may have implants they forgot to tell you about. So it's just good to have them changing. And even so, they may have material that is on them that can heat up. So you just never know. And if a patient or someone does say, why do I have to change the last tech? Then have me change. Just tell them it's your company's policy. Company's policy. Question 6. The MRI magnet room and MRI scanner is found in which zone? Zone 1, Zone 4, Zone 2, or Zone 3? Zone 4. You do have where you need to make sure before a patient even enter into Zone 3. Make sure that you have screened them in Zone 2, even if it is a nurse, another MRI tech, a student. Make sure everyone who is entering in Zone 3 have been properly screened so that whenever you send them to Zone 4, they're ready to go in and you do not have to rescreen them because you shouldn't be screening anyone in Zone 3. You shouldn't be screening them in Zone 4. You're supposed to screen your patients and you should be screening them in Zone 2. Which of the following includes the personnel that have passed the minimum required safety education to work or enter inside of the MRI Zone 3? Level 2 personnel, Level 4 personnel, Level 1 personnel, non-MRI personnel. Level 1 personnel. Level 1 personnel is the office staff members and the other patient aides that have passed the minimum required safety education in order to make sure that they are safe as they enter into the MRI Zone 3 area. Which type of personnel includes visitor, staff, or patient that has not undergone the proper MRI safety training? Level 2 personnel, non-MRI personnel, level 4 personnel, or level 1 personnel. non-MRI personnel. These are the visitor, staff, and patient that has not undergone the proper and approved MRI safety training within the last year. Question 9. Which MRI personnel includes the radiologists, MRI techs, nurses, transporters, and other staff that has properly trained in MRI safety? You have your non-MRI personnel, level 3 personnel, level 1 personnel, level 2 personnel. Level 2 personnel. So these are the ones who fully understands the issues and the concerns regarding burns and patient injuries. Question 10. Which of the following is for medical devices that are safe to use in specified MRI environments under certain conditions? MRI safe, MRI conditional, MRI unsafe, and MRI compatible. And sometimes you will hear people say MR or MRI. I still say MRI, but a lot of texts or a lot of people say MR. MRI conditional. So with MRI conditional implants, and a lot of techs get this confused whether they're new and old. So if a patient comes in with an implanted device, whether it's a pacemaker, a stimulator, stents, aneurysm clips, whatever they come in, if their card has this label on it, which you also should know as well, that it's yellow for MRI conditional. If they have this label, and number one, I always ask for their card to verify what they have in their body, because they may tell you they have a stent in their brain, but they end up having an aneurysm clip. So ask for their card, verify what they're telling you, and even if it's say MRI conditional, just don't run and rush the patient in the room to do the scan. You have to make sure what kind of implant they have in, what kind of coils you have to use, how long should they be in the scanner? Are there any SAR limits? Should they only be in the scanner for 15 minutes and have to take a break for 20 minutes and then be scanned again? Should they only get a 30-minute scan? Okay, I'm scanning their brain. Can I use a brain coil? Which brain coil can I use? So all of this stuff you have to know. You cannot just see this card and this symbol and say this patient is okay to scan. You can reach out to that company who placed the implant. They will send you or email you a handout going over which implant is safe or conditional to go in. So don't just see this information and assume that you can just send them in, because you're going to end up either harming someone or burning them if you're rushing to get them in and out, on and off the table. Just make sure that you review the information correctly. Question 11. An item that poses no known harm or injuries to patients within the MRI environment is considered MRI unsafe, MRI conditional, MRI safe, or MRI compatible. MRI safe. Also know the labels. I have it right here. Know what these labels mean. This is good for test purposes, clinical purposes. You working as a tech, if you're a student and you're just looking at these videos, all of this is helpful so that you can know and that you can understand. If you want to, you can leave a comment just letting me know, hey, I'm an x-ray tech, I'm thinking about MRI, or hey, I'm an MRI student, or maybe you're a CT tech or another tech who is looking to get in MRI and just watching my videos to see what to know, what to expect. So if you want to, let me know in the comments what tech you are, or if you're in MRI, or if you're thinking about getting into it. Question 12. An MRI item that include magnetic items or ferromagnetic scissors are considered to be MRI safe, MRI compatible, MRI unsafe, MRI conditional. MRI unsafe. So this is why you should be screening your patients in zone 2, because when you get to zone 4, it's too late. Question 13. A rotational force that will cause the alignment of an object to the lines of magnetic flux is called a torque, quench, Gauss, or Tesla. Torque. So just make sure that you know your MRI safe labels, MRI unsafe labels. If you see any scissors or a stool, make sure it has that label on it before you bring it inside the MRI room. Even a stretcher or a wheelchair, make sure that it's safe to go inside. Question 14. A sudden loss to the superconductivity of the magnet coils so that the magnet can become resistive or non-operational is called a torque, Gauss, quenching, or Tesla. Now I'll give you a few moments to think of this. Quenching. So whenever you do start going to the MRI clinical environment, you may already be there. There is a button on the wall and it's normally protected by like a covering. That's where the quench button is. So you should know that you should only quench the button if someone's life is in danger, if they're losing their life, a limb, seriously injured. That's when you want to quench it, but just keep in mind whenever you do quench the magnet, it's going to release all of the helium out and pretty much shut down the machine. So you won't be able to use it for, it's no telling how long it's going to take to repair. So therefore you're rescheduling your patients. Your patients can't get an MRI scan. Now they have to go somewhere else, and this could have been a closer facility. You're delaying patient care. So that's why you should always screen your patients, communicate with them, keep an eye out on them, listen to them, so that you can see when you should be running in there to avoid certain things from happening. Question 15. Which MRI mode is used for routine scanning and is considered safe for all patients? You have your first level control operating mode, normal operating mode, second level control operating mode, third level control operating mode. I'll just give you a few moments to answer this. All right, you have your normal operating mode. So this is considered safe for all patients. Whenever I'm scanning, sometimes you'll get that notification popping up, especially depending on what machine you're working on. I know the machine that I use, a notification will pop up if a patient is starting to, heat up, or if they've been in there for a while, you'll start getting those SAR limits. Always click normal operating mode. If it does not let me click it, instead of clicking first level, I go in and I open the protocol, because you can also choose between decreasing your slices or increasing your TR or increasing your slices. So instead of me increasing the time, I try to go in and manually try to decrease the flip angle if it doesn't let me reduce the flip angle from that point. What is the normal specific absorption rate, or SAR, limit for an MRI brain scan? You have 4 watts per kilogram, 1 watt per kilogram, 2 watts per kilogram, 3.2 watts per kilogram. 3.2 watts per kilogram. Question 17. Which of the following may cause physiologic stress, such as peripheral nerve stimulation or tissue heating, if this is used? Second level controlled operating mode, first level controlled operating mode, normal operating mode, fourth level operating mode. First level control operating mode. When you use this, medical supervision is required just to make sure that they are not being in any type of stress. And if they are, you should always have the panic ball regardless if you're using this mode or normal mode. I always use normal mode, but they should always have the panic ball or the call ball in their hands because sometimes they think you can hear them if they're saying something. So I always just give them the emergency ball to squeeze. Question 18. Which of the following is used for research or experimental purposes? Which mode? Second level control operating mode, normal operating mode, first level control operating mode, fourth level operating mode. Second level control operating mode. So this is pretty much for experiments or research. This level can produce a greater amount of risk to patients, so do not use this mode on anyone. Um, like I was saying, this is pretty much for research or experimental. If you have a patient in the clinic or a patient in a hospital, they're walking and talking to you, they didn't tell you this is for research purposes, or you don't have an order for a doctor, you should always be scanning in normal mode. Well, thank you all for watching this video. Feel free to leave any comments or any questions that you have. If you work at a facility where you are using a certain type of mode for research, feel free to leave it in the comment section. Also, feel free to let me know if you're working at a hospital, if you're working at a clinic, if you are, on your journey to becoming an MRI tech, this is your last step where you just doing the review questions, or let me know if you need any other help. Also, feel free to let me know what other type of videos you like regarding MRI. I do have another video. Actually, I have two videos out now. One is just going over the basics of MRI, which is the beginning, learning your protons, neutrons, electrons. And then I have another video out where I talk about MRI pulse sequences. So just feel free to look at my MRI registry review playlist. This is where I have all of my MRI review information at. And I also have an MRI playlist where if you're just interested in seeing what we do every day, or if you have any questions about the course, I have all that information. So thank you all for watching. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you found this video to be helpful for you. Thank you. Bye.